After all the progress we've made on the property, it was time to move some of my storage buildings from what I'm calling the campsite or the parking spot down to the meadow. Both the hoop house and the pallet shed were always intended to be temporary and mobile, so I can move them from different sites as I clear areas on the property. My brother came over to help, and we took down and reassembled both structures. We tucked them into little holes we cut in the meadow so that they were out of the way. I have some earlier videos that go over the process of building these structures in more detail, but my brother and I put them back together pretty quickly in less than half a day, which is kind of the point of the project. The next step is to remove a bunch of stumps from the meadow. Because I cut everything by hand, it left a lot of debris and remaining tree stumps. They make it difficult for me to pull trailers back into this area because it bounces them around. I also have a lot of trouble cutting the grass in this area because I find hidden stumps and have bent 3 lawnmower blades. The first thing I tried is to drill holes in the stumps and soak them in diesel fuel and burn them. This unfortunately did not work at all, so I started digging them out by hand, which ended up being the most time-consuming and physically difficult project I've done out on the property so far. After I got tired of trying to dig the stumps out, I attached a chain to them and started pulling with my pickup truck. Unfortunately, there was still too much stump in the ground and I couldn't get it to budge, but pulling on it did help loosen things up. Because I only get to work on the property a few hours a day and a couple of days a week between shifts, I don't get a lot done, and it took me weeks to dig the stumps up enough as to where I could pull them completely out with the truck. You can see I took several attempts to pull them with the truck with no success. While I was digging, my buddy told me that you can put rock salt around stumps and eventually deer will dig them up for you. I decided to try this technique on a stump that was a bit out of the way and not critical to remove anytime soon. You can see Davis was excited to help out. During my next attempt at stump pulling with my truck, I decided to use the spare tire trick and ran the chain over my spare trailer tire. This process gives it a bit more leverage and actually works pretty well. The trickiest part of the process is really getting the tire to stand up straight while you're trying to run the chain over it and get back in the truck. Half the time it flops over. After pulling several times and in several different directions, I finally started to make some progress. You can see here the stump moves just a little bit, which is encouraging. After weeks of work, I finally got the last significant stump to come out, which was very satisfying. The next step was to drag it into my burn pile, but at this point I was so tired and lazy, I just decided to pull it with my winch attached to the four-wheeler. This process was pretty slow, so I decided just to drag it with a chain. The next step is to fill all the holes and ruts I made. I'm probably going to use mulch since I can get it for free from the recycling center in town.